A wise mind once said that a mentor can put you on the path, but you have to walk it. But finding the path and staying on it in a world of work which moves at a pace like never before is increasingly difficult, particularly for young recruits entering the workplace for the first time. Pressure may indeed make diamonds, but it can break people, which is why mentoring is increasingly important in the world of work. Which is why I'm delighted on the mental space today to be joined by two guests who are really passionate about supporting young people coming into the world of work. Naim Maadad, the CEO and founder of Gates Hospitality, and Elham Bolooki, Experiential Learning Manager at Dubai College of Tourism. Why are they here today? Because they have just formed a partnership designed to give mentoring to students who want to enter the industry of tourism and hospitality, and to provide the kind of advice that Naim wishes he'd had when he entered into the industry just a few years ago. Naim, welcome to the Mental Space podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Now, for our audience, just give us a little bit of an overview of the partnership. What does it involve?
It involves a lot of things, actually, which is really exciting. When we started our conversation with Gates Hospitality, we realized that there are so many opportunities that we could collaborate on. So it started off very small with guest speakers at the college with the students. Then we had some industry visits, and then it started to get bigger, and they started recruiting some of our interns. And now, excitingly, we're working on a really fun project together. First of its kind in Dubai. It's the Culinary Arts Apprenticeship Program that we're launching together as DCT and Gates Hospitality.
Now, Naim, I know you've been passionate about attracting new talent into the industry, but also letting people know that actually mental health can be supported in what can be a demanding industry. Why was this partnership so key for you? Why was it so vital?
Yeah, look, education for me is really key to everything that we do, and be it mental health, be it a profession, be it finding that path that you referenced earlier, I think is essential for us to be the mentors and the guiding light for a lot of the young individuals who are about to embark onto this amazing industry. And I say amazing industry for more than one reason. One, it's endless opportunities globally. No matter where you come from, you can actually add towards the industry, towards the sector. All these individuals need is to be enlightened of the pros and cons that come with such a role, the benefits, and make sure that we actually make them see the long-term benefit. Short-term, like anything else in life, doesn't really have a lot of benefit. Long-term, if you do jump on the right path and take it seriously and contribute and utilize all the knowledge and all the education that you garner along the way, it's a very rewarding industry sector to be in.
Elham, you'll obviously be talking to students. What are some of their fears or pressures? You know, how do you prepare them already for the world of work? Because it's a big leap. Mm-hmm. And then why did you feel that this partnership with Gates could give them something extra as they make that massive transition from basically into adulthood?
Yeah, well, perfect timing to have this conversation, because just this morning we were briefing the students about the next internship they're going on, which starts in May. And so a lot of these talking points are actually in my briefing to them. So first off, as a college, we prepare them on multiple fronts. We start off in their first trimester with us in September to teach them career prep, which is basically preparing for a career. And we develop their CVs with them, we do interview skills together, and we talk about the realities of the industry across all of our programs, whether it's culinary arts, tourism, hospitality, or events, operations. So we have industry professionals that teach these courses here at the college, so they already start to tell them what it's like. So our chefs, actual industry chefs, are teaching the future culinary students, as an example. And so they're made aware of the hours that go behind it, the stamina required to stand in a really hot kitchen. So we already start to give them indication of what to expect from the industry. We also put in a lot of opportunities for them to volunteer across all of the amazing events in the city. Just I mean, a few weeks ago, they were at the Untold Festival.
Yeah.
And then also Gulf Food. So they see it, they can experience it. And then we start to talk them through really what the expectations are. And then the fears aspect that you're asking about, I would say is mainly about, am I good enough? Will I be able to do it? Can I stand for that long? Because of course they practice in the college, but they know that it's different to the 9 hours that they spend here versus in industry. And honestly, it goes back to Naim's vision as well, and the conversations that we have had where we feel they would be in the right hand at Gates Hospitality, simply because also from our experience of our students that are there right now, that are doing their internships, we've heard such great feedback from the partner side as well as the students in terms of what they're learning, how much attention they're getting from the executive chef. Mm-hmm. So I think that little bit of attention, which they don't maybe categorize as mentorship, right, is very important to help them after we've...
What does it give them, do you think? Before I'm going to come to you in a minute, Naim, but what do you think it gives the students? Just that ability to actually like live the job as opposed to, in theory, it's going to be good.
Look, we're a vocational college, right? So a lot of it is dependent on experiential learning. And if the students are not out there experiencing it, they wouldn't really be able to understand what they need from the industry every time they come back to study. So every little step they take in industry, they come back as really feedback for us where we learn more about what they need. In terms of mentorship, it's really important for the student because they feel they're not totally left to figure it out. So they always feel this kind of support. And I think that's the main key, whether it's from us or from the industry.
Naim, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit from almost like a practical business sense, because we'll talk about the emotional and the reasons why you're passionate about this, from the educational perspective. But from a business perspective, what's the imperative here as well? Because obviously you can take recruits raw and then throw them into the world of work, and actually your world of work is incredibly fast-paced and can be demanding. So preparing people to come into that environment, what's the business benefit for you for a start with?
Continuity, independence, maturity, all of these words come to mind to answer your question. But I think reality is we've all been through this.
Yeah.
And the best experience you get is on the job. The best real life challenges you face are when you're actually doing whatever you're supposed to be doing. It's classrooms are amazing and you get such a knowledge, but there is a beginning and there is an end and there is no additional requests. Whereas a real life experience could be anything. Could be a great day, could be a challenging day, could be a very pressuring service for the culinary teams. Don't forget, you're working with a new team as well, so you're building humans, you're building characters, you're building every possible personalities, kind of individualism that can come out and really shine. That doesn't mean always positive experiences. I must admit, kitchens particularly have a culture of fear, and that's all changing. Nonetheless, service time is serious. It's pressure. There's a lot of demand. There is a lot of inquisitiveness, language that's actually unspoken. Timing is essential, and last but not least, every single dish has to be the same. Yeah. So there's a lot of pressure.
It's funny because some of the qualities you were talking about then, developing a human being, supporting them, almost sounds a little bit like fatherhood. And I know that's shaped, I think, your worldview of leadership quite a lot, hasn't it, being a parent to your daughter?
Guy, I look at this young generation. I think any industry needs someone to say, what is CSR and how do we give back? Yeah. This is not about contributing money. This is about teaching them how to fish rather than giving them fish.
Yeah.
Fundamentally.
Yeah.
And if you really do develop them in a way that they have that confidence, that maturity, the professionalism, and the ability to work in a multicultural environment, these kids will land a job anywhere in the world and will shine. And that's exactly my objective.
I'm going to take you back. You talked about we've all been through it before. Tell me, and I'm going to start with you if I may, Naim. Tell me about your, a first boss that was either amazing and had a massive impact on your life, or an experience where you went, you know what, actually looking back, there was an experience to learn from that.
It's how many hours do you have? I have
It's a podcast,
so
it's
many,
unlimited.
honestly, I have so many first-hand experiences, and all of these experiences have enriched me to become the person that I am. A lot of them are negative, which I've learned and I hope not to repeat in life, and a lot of them are positive that I like to apply, re-educate, reinvent, and make sure people are enjoying those. My first hotel job, Hilton Adelaide, many years ago. Some of us were around, some weren't.
That's me and you, basically.
Yes, yes. I didn't want to say anything, but yes, you've hit the nail on the head there. Night audit, and you used to print reports for hours, and we had this laser printer behind us. It was for literally for hours. No one read those reports. Genuinely nobody. So I was the foolish one that actually one morning I put my hand up saying, "Why do we print these reports?" I was looked at as if, who's the young recruit and why is he asking questions, basically. So I said, what if we don't print them for 3 days and let's see who's going to ask for them. And those who will ask for them, we will print and provide them and see what they're going to do with them. If my memory serves me right, I think 32 or 33 days went by before anybody actually asked for that pile of paper that was absolutely wasted, printed every day, lots of noise, inconveniencing the guests who were checking out, checking in, and a duty that was just done rather than...
What was in the reports?
Reports
funny,
that detailed...
happens.
Yes,
It still
there's
goes
absolutely
on.
just history, just demanded those
History, yeah.
reports. There was no functionality anymore because the work system evolved, but those reports were still printed, filed in boxes, and literally no use whatsoever.
It's true.
And look, I can guarantee you today, in your daily chores, my daily chores, Elham's daily chores, we do a lot of things that are not necessary anymore. It's just habits and peer pressure and society pressure that demand us to do so rather than necessity to do so.
In the spirit of mentorship, on that first day in the industry, not so long ago, Naim, what do you wish either you could go back and tell yourself, or what do you wish that do you wish there'd been someone there to put an arm around you and go, right, I want to tell you this is what you need to know? What would that have been?
Look, I think it's an unfair question for the simple reason the industry has evolved so much. The mental well-being has changed so much. When I was entering the industry was fairly rough. In all seriousness.
Okay.
And education was, if you have a degree, you should have learned it all already. We're not here to educate you. We're not an educational institute. We're a workplace. So you're on your own.
So it wasn't a mentor.
Toughen up.
Did you have a mentor, or was it literally?
I did. As a matter of fact, a gentleman by the name of George Van Hulst, who was the Hilton general manager at the time, who would frequent the family restaurant all the time.
Yeah.
And I would go and have a one-on-one with him, and he would tell me to calm down. I was fairly hot-headed, as one may...
Surely not, no. Surely not.
To calm down and analyse things before I raise them in the right forums and so forth. But again, the gap was so big, entry to a GM. And that, if I could change that, I wish there was someone in the middle who we both felt more comfortable with. He felt that he was doing me a favour and, yes, saw a lot of talent in me. And I felt like he's such a big guy that I shouldn't be wasting his time. And that the gap was just so massive that nothing was natural.
That is so true.
Very hierarchical.
Yes.
Your first day. How are you feeling on day one of your first job?
Actually, it's funny. I was talking about this morning.
Yeah.
I spent my first job rolling hand towels in a restaurant. It was at the time the Ivy in Emirates Towers.
Okay.
So I was rolling the hand towels for the bathrooms, and then at one point I started checking reservations and calling the guests to confirm. So I was very excited about it. Obviously, I was doing it for nothing. I just wanted to really know what it was like to work in a restaurant. But I guess it was a lot of the same things that the students talk about today. Like, it hasn't changed so much. It was more of, do I know what I'm doing? What if I make a mistake? What are they going to say to me if I do? What if I talk to the wrong person? If I don't realize this is a VIP? There's so many things in that moment. But it's interesting, like, in terms of mentorship across my career in general, I had a couple in different areas, which I guess that was the evolution after then when I started working in the industry as well, right? Obviously there was the GM that until today I'm in touch with, that was my mentor all the way through. But then also I had a couple of other senior managers that I would be in touch with that would help me navigate different areas of work. It wasn't always that one person for that one thing. And then it started to be, this person is an expert in this area, and I'd rather go to them for that. And it just a mix and match of
And a board of advisors.
something like that. I created my own.
But what did that give you? What did you get? Because obviously, if you'd been by yourself, would you have struggled? Or what did having those mentors mean? Because sometimes, and I've been through it with my son, who's now in the world of work. He's graduated, and he's in the world of work. And the thing with this is like, ask. Just put your hand out and ask for help, which is sometimes Gen Z isn't particularly good at.
Yeah.
So that ability to reach out, what did that give you?
Perspective was the main thing. Understanding like each person's individual careers and how they got to where they were. It gave me perspective that there isn't one way of doing this, which is why also my MBA thesis one was on how to create female general managers in 5-star hotels. And so I had to speak to lots of GMs, and I realized, yes, there's so many different ways that you can go about this. So that was definitely one. Another was really comfort in knowing that someone is supporting you. It also helps to know that, in any situation, they kind of are there for you. Also, if you have any tough decisions you want to make, they're also there. But I think also it's just nice sometimes. It also gives you a little bit of value in that organization. So you realize that if multiple people are telling me that it's okay and I can do it and I can handle it, then maybe I can. Because at 18 or 20 or even 25, you don't know that. So just that reassurance. That
phrase you came out with earlier, which seems to actually permeate all levels of mental health, which is, am I good enough?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a question that so many individuals ask themselves and struggle with. I wanted to ask you both and get both of your perspectives, given the situation when we look at the world today, not just in hospitality. How important is it for the academic institutions and the world of work to actually proactively support the mental health of these young individuals coming in to the world of work now? Because the world of work is very different from when me and you joined it, Naim. And I'll ask you first.
Look, it's how important. It's imperative. It's not important because I don't think today you should be able to separate the two. It's a parcel that should be really analysed, dissected, and then rejoined. And I think for me, essentially today, what's the biggest change is the workplace has evolved so much. Yeah. The generation has a lot of different, expectations. And last but not least, what's happening today, it's the young generations are inquisitive enough, which was a challenge for my generation. You weren't allowed to be outspoken. You weren't allowed to be asking questions, and you were encouraged to be reserved. Yeah. Whereas the world has changed today.
It was yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir back then.
100%. Yeah, 100%. It was a very subservient kind of industry, but today it's and this is one of my main objectives. Why am I doing what I'm doing today? It's how do we get the young generation to see the industry with a different limelight. The industry has changed, and I keep saying that for me, it's an educational space. It's a place where you have an amazing job. You get to travel the world. You are working in some amazing places. You're serving some very high net worth individuals, and
that can be a positive and a negative at times, depending on
true.
And who it is.
but reality is, nobody comes out to a hotel, a restaurant, a resort to have a bad time. No. So everybody comes with the right mindset. It's how do we match that mindset and how do we complement that expectation of the experience? So our educational role is fundamental to make sure that they have that ability to say, who is Scott, who is Elham, what are they looking for, what is the motive for being here, and how do we supplement that? So a lot of it is psychological, what we do actually. Yeah. You turn up to a table and you stand there and you expect to know everything about that next 2 hours. So a lot of it, and again, with our training, we teach people to look at the watch that people are wearing, to look at the jewelry that people are. A lot of it is very subconscious, but once you kind of go through that list of where are they and what do they want?
Oh, that's depressing.
It is what it is.
I'm just going to cover up my That's why they're not offering me the extra bottle. Elham, I'll ask you to respond to that as well. That importance as an academic institution as well to support the mental health.
It's very important. I think I'll just add a little bit to what Naim said, because the industry you're describing, as well as it was the same for millennials
Yeah.
joining the workforce. You know, a lot of the times it was the same perspective, because I think millennials are always trying to do the right thing and follow the right path. And so we have to follow what was done before, almost maybe slightly different with the use of technology that, you know, changed us and so on. But I think the people who are really changing it are Gen Zs, because, and I see it with the students as well, because I think after COVID, and the whole pandemic, we realized that the industry could function in a different way.
Yeah.
And only they questioned it, and they realized, I'm not going to go back to that. So once they started doing that, we realized, well, yeah, I guess there is another way to do things. And so maybe we should listen a little bit. So as an academic, learning from the Gen Zs and understanding their perspective, as well as what they're expecting from jobs,
Yeah.
or how they integrate their mental health into their daily life almost, or how they work with it, right? It is
Yeah.
one package.
They prioritize it.
100%.
Yeah.
And to be honest, sometimes like I'll maybe even get feedback from industry to say, you know, they're saying these things, but in my head I say, well, we all have these thoughts, right? But we just don't say it.
Yeah.
That's the difference. They'll say, yeah, but they're looking at work-life balance. It's like, I am too. Are you not?
Yeah.
Everyone in the industry is. Everyone would like to. So, but they're the only ones who questioned it, that mentioned that there could be another way to do it. So I think it's very interesting to hear their perspective on that. And so in terms of mental health and the importance of it from an academic standpoint, actually very important, because I start to understand each student as an individual, and then find the right fit for them.
Yeah.
Right? So for example, let's say we have a student who has been diagnosed with ADHD. I can't put him somewhere where he has to sit at a desk 9 to 5 and maybe do one thing over and over again. They will definitely fail at that.
Yeah.
They need to be somewhere that's fast-paced and has a lot of, you know, adrenaline rushing through, and, you know, maybe more in events or in operations, because they need to run. They need to do multiple things at a time. And that's the only way I know that he can do it.
Yeah.
So if I can't, as an academic, communicate that to the industry, then I'm failing that student.
Leadership has become a more complicated task these days, hasn't it, Naim? Because it used to be one size fits all. It did used to be yes sir, no sir, three bags full sir. Now you have to be more alive to the different personalities. How do you think that hothead who started the industry a few years ago, Naim Maadad, would have fared in this climate? Do you think actually these days, you know, being listened to more, you'd have actually accelerated through the industry? How do you think you'd have...
Look, I think it's all about maturity as well. And we all, I think a lot of people, I shouldn't assume that all, but a lot of people sit in the room, study the room, read the room, and then react accordingly. And I think I've been given that gift of understanding the situation and then reacting accordingly. So hot-headedness, I think, became as a sign of frustration more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because of the limitations, because of the boundaries that we had in place, because of the repetitive tasks that we had to do for zero benefit to the organization, to the client, to the customers. One thing that I really want to talk about when it comes to leadership as well, I think what we should really talk about in our little discussion here is the parents.
Yeah.
They are the gatekeepers, and entering the industry in our sector is not necessarily favored by the old generation.
No.
So you are already, from a mental well-being, from a mental health, you are already challenging that chapter with the parents, because they're against it. They want you to become a lawyer or a banker or whatever.
Doctor and engineer.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you already are starting on the wrong foot. I've had that personally.
Yeah.
I left my you may remember the story. I left my theatre of economics 3 years into it to enter hotel school, and I wasn't spoken to for a month at home. So you go through a lot of pressure, and I think the gatekeepers today need to understand that this is not a job. This is a career. If you are well educated, if you're well invested in, and you give it all you have.
What fascinates me about hospitality, and I did spend some time, serving behind 4 foot of mahogany back when I was a youngster. Particularly when we look at Gen Z these days, and we look at, and I hate the term, people call it soft skills, but actually they're not soft skills. We talk about the life skills. As a business journalist, the amount of successful business people I have met who owe their success to the lessons they learned working in hospitality. Could we maybe just spend a moment just to talk about the life skills that are actually on offer inside hospitality in terms of the ability to actually look someone in the eye and communicate? Mm-hmm. Elham.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I think after I left not really left the industry, like directly, let's say out of the operations, I realized how hypersensitive I was to people just by their existence, by knowing there's something more happening today. It wasn't like yesterday. And it all came from the industry. Just that before someone approaches, I can kind of sense how that's going to go.
Okay.
So that's one thing that.
So spider sense.
Yeah, definitely, right, Naim?
Yeah,
you can definitely tell if this person is in the right mood or not. And it could be they're saying something with a smile, but I know they're not happy inside, and I know the layers underneath that. It gives you that sense. It's the same concept of being able to look at someone and say, okay, I know what they're here for, what they're looking for, and what they'd like to do today. So
there's a definite superpower straight off.
It really is. My husband loves it.
I'm sure. Again, those life skills, and you'll have seen so many individuals come through, the doors of Gates Hospitality who perhaps come in shy, retiring, very inhibited. How has hospitality transformed some of these people you've worked with?
Look, fundamentally, what we're doing to these individuals is really embedding confidence into them.
Yeah.
And once you have that confidence, I think 80% of the people that enter the industry have it in them. It's just needs to be kind of amplified, polished and brought out. Once they have that confidence, once they have the skill set, the knowledge, the know-how, they're unstoppable because the industry is very, very robust. Every meal period of the day demands a different style of service.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And you're still a waiter or a waitress or a bar person or a barista or a chef. So basically multifaceted individuals have to be on stage performing their best at a different time of the day without even realizing what's actually taking place. Enforcing confidence, giving them that maturity of the knowledge, and that's what we're doing. And that changes their lives because when they are diners or when they are hotel guests, they're behaving in a more profound way.
Mm-hmm. It's something we touched on in a previous roundtable as well. And I just want to kind of get back to it in that supporting mental health of employees actually translates into better guest experience. Mm-hmm. Discuss. What do you feel about that statement, Elham?
100%. I mean, it's true. It'll only get better because it's more natural. Mm-hmm. It'll just be a lot easier for you. You don't have to try too hard. And that is the best service, when it feels flawless and effortless and it just seamless. It just happened without you even really noticing that it's happening. That is the perfect service, right? So when I'm actually not struggling with a couple of different things on the back of my head, and it could be simple, like my boss is just not in a great mood and totally put that on me, and now I have to look at a guest and be like, good morning, sir, how are you today, right? And that, yes, I can do it because I've done it for so long. It's probably like
muscle memory,
performance art.
Performance art.
But then if I didn't have that holding me back, it would come out a lot easier. I'd be more invested in the guest. I'd ask more about their family, and we'd just go into a completely different style of service.
And how have you noticed the difference between, obviously, because you entered the industry when mental health wasn't supported. So someone who's supported versus someone who isn't supported, that attitude.
Look, I'm not going to claim that space. Right? No. It's not. I think this is global. This is happening in every sector, in every industry. I think we're humans at the end of the day. And if there's something in the back of your mind, whether it's a toothache or an issue at home, you can't perform no matter what you do. You can't. I can't even drive on the road properly if my mind is engaged with something else without me knowing that there is a solution, there is a potential for a better way forward. Yeah. All I can tell you is that what we should be doing and what I'm trying to do in my workplace is to facilitate an environment where people can say, I need time out for A, B, C, D reason. Now, we don't have solutions for all of the problems that we all have. I don't confess to sit here and say, come to Papa Naim and everything's going to be sorted out. That's not the case. We will tolerate such challenges, and we will make sure that we will find a place, a time, a mentor to try and assist you. Yeah. I think that's the best we can do in today's world.
What do you hope will be the legacy of this partnership between Gates and Dubai College of Tourism?
Wow. Well, that's a loaded question. I would say, honestly, just the legacy and the relationship itself. I think just this continuity and more collaboration with our students, with the efforts from the industry, and hopefully it'll be an example for other partners as well to follow.
Naim, I mean, you obviously entered into this partnership. You're very proud of it.
Already established. And I'll give you multiple reasons. One is Gates is a homegrown establishment, right? 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And for Naim today to be sitting here representing Gates with Elham, talking about this amazing relationship that we have, and the fact that they trusted my organization to be the pioneer to enter such a very major responsibility, 2 years of commitment to multiple human lives.
Yeah.
They haven't gone for the large organizations, the large corporate, the large hotels. Sorry, guys. But I'm proud.
You can talk your book.
I'm proud. I'm proud. Yeah. I'm genuinely proud, and which means a lot more pressure on my shoulders to make sure that these individuals, when they finish their 2-year apprenticeship, when they complete their the checklist, the next obligation is how do we make sure they land amazing jobs and they fly the flag of the school, the entity, the workplace, and celebrate the relationship and hopefully carry that legacy forward.
Okay, so I'm going to let you do a bit of a promo, but it feels like it's an easy sell with this picture behind us. Why should somebody look to come and start in the hospitality industry in Dubai?
I don't really think that's, I was just going to say, it's not really a question. It's definitely, it's the right place to be. I always say, I don't know how we could do it better, but we do.
Yeah.
So if you want to be part of that, you have to do it with us, DCT and Gates.
Actually, behind you, it says beyond possible. I think that's a good enough answer.
Absolutely. That's almost the mic drop there. We do have a tradition on the podcast now, which I always spring on my guests, so I'm sorry about this. Okay. But because we are the mental space, we do ask, what does mental health mean to you? And I'm going to ask you first, Elham, if I may.
Wow. Can I take a second? Unless, Naim, you have an answer.
Sure, I do. I always have an answer.
Yeah.
He does.
Mental well-being, as I call it.
Yeah.
It's a space where today the population is able to talk about, it's happy to engage in, and last but not least, it's shouldn't be ashamed of, still ashamed of.
Yeah.
So mental wellness is about making sure that we are able to express our feelings in a formal way with our colleagues, not making them think lesser of us or better of us, but the ability to discuss your feelings in a professional platform.
Yeah, follow that. There's some pressure.
I would say mental health is knowing that, obviously adding to everything that he just so perfectly said, I would say it's knowing that independence doesn't mean loneliness, and that community is a big part of why Dubai is also a success, and it's part of Arabian hospitality and Arabic culture. So knowing that there's always a community regardless of what you're going through, and that's the only way to push forward. And if that's not what we were about, I mean...
I was about to close up the podcast, but I'm just going to ask one last question, just because you raised an interesting point, and I think it's actually fascinating. When we look around the world, the levels of loneliness, despite social media, despite the number of people, are sky high, and they're really, really impacting people's mental health. Talk to me about, because I remember, I've worked in hospitality, that sense of community inside teams in that profession, and how... what that gives you. I'm going to ask you first, Elham.
It's kind of your only way of survival. Because I grew up I'm from Dubai. I grew up here. I went to school here, college here, and I obviously worked my whole life here. The small exception, I spent time in Mallorca. But otherwise, I had a lot of friends growing up that we all went into different areas. And it did get lonely because the industry is that. If you're not in it, nobody else wants to hang out with you at 11 o'clock for dinner, right?
True.
So they don't. And so if I didn't have that community, it would have been a very difficult, I honestly don't think I would have spent as much time in the industry as I did.
Yeah.
So if I didn't have that community, I wouldn't have created my career. So definitely that's necessary. And I think that's necessary in any work environment or any environment in life in general.
I'm going to leave the mic drop moment to you, Naim. The importance of that sense of community or what it's given you over the years.
Look, a sense of community, it starts at home. And I did reference earlier, if your parents aren't happy with you, you already have a sore point. So I think sense of community is about making sure that what matters to you as an individual, whatever that community is encompassing, is at peace, and then you're good.
So if anyone's listening, watching, and they want to reach out and they want to learn more about this partnership between Gates Hospitality and Dubai College of Tourism, how do they find out? Where should they go?
Yeah, well, definitely on the Dubai College of Tourism website. So you could hear more about our apprenticeship program, our social media channels at Dubai College of Tourism, LinkedIn as well, Naim.
Same.
Gates Hospitality.
There's certainly no shortage of information. GatesHospitality.com will give you a lot of information. We have a press release that's already out. So, and again, for the serious ones will find us.
Naim, Elham, thank you very much for joining us on the Mental Space podcast today. I hope that's helped you find a path. If it has, and if you've enjoyed this conversation as much as I have, remember that you can subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, the button is right there. Just click it. And of course, we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. One last time, thank you very much for joining us on the Mental Space.
Thank you so much.